Tony's been everywhere.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm happy.
We're going live. I think we're probably live because it
you.
always says it. We end up going live before it actually goes live.
Where's Rhonda?
Here, I was going to let her know here. I believe we are live. Oh, jeez.
It says live.
Rhonda did text, and her husband, something happened with at his job site, I guess. So I guess she had to go get him. Something to do with heat, so he's okay, but I guess he got overheated.
Okay.
You'll have that in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony used to haul horses down there, didn't you? That was hot.
I have.
But,
wait, really?
Yeah.
Hey, I was down and out last week, so I fully get it.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, so she's out with that. And then Will had a last minute trip he had to go on. So but hey, listen, that's what this is all about. That's what this is. It's people that are working, right? And on the front lines, and so that's just gonna happen. So we adapt just like we would anything in the freight industry. So
at this point, we don't really adapt. We just take it in the chin and make the best of it.
Yeah, you just gotta have it's a tough chin. But no, I think it's I think I really wanted to do this. I think it's pretty cool. You really think about it. For a year, I mean, it goes to show that when we started this whole thing, it was really just because again we like talking freight, literally. Me and Brandon, me and Tony, or even Nicole, like you'll be on the phone talking freight, and it was like, why don't we just do a show? I mean, there's times I'd hang up the phone, I'd be like, wow, that conversation was pretty damn good. Like we talked about some cool stuff, or I even learned something, and then you meet people like Nicole, and you learn like the business owner side, and then you meet people like Mike, who give you like a whole different angle of things. It almost make you kind of feel that you don't do it on purpose, Mike, but sometimes it kind of makes you feel like, man, maybe I am being pretty simplistic or approaching this from a
don't want anyone. I don't think that.
I know you don't, but it gets you thinking. You're like, if I want to be good, maybe I should take a more a different approach and everything, and it works. I mean, the conversations you're able to have. That the customer I just said I went and visited today, small cap customer. She came from a bigger company and took it over, and she's like talking to me about how her budget and everything was bad, but she just got there, and I was able to have the conversations that I learned kind of like from you, and we're doing their whole thing now. Like they're gonna give everything to us, and we're gonna we've talked with their CFO and their purchasers and everything, and I'm gonna at least be able to know who to get involved, right? Whether or not I knew exactly what to say, but that it was possible. That's possible
awesome.
to do.
So, what was her name again, TJ?
Her name is Nunya at mindyourownbusiness.com. Give her a jangle. So, hey, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go around and just ask everybody, what they're up to and how they've been and how their 2021's been. So, Nicole, we're gonna start with you because, Candor is one of those companies that's fun to watch. You do enough to keep it out there, and especially, Brandon mentioned earlier from the employee side and everything. So, how's everything going with Candor and what you got going?
It's going really good. We've been having record months every month, and it's not just because the market's crazy, but it's because we're putting effort behind trying to obtain our current customer base and get more. And we've added a bunch of people to our team. And it's been awesome on doing that because our culture is changing, but in a good way. So now we're getting different experience. Like we brought someone on that has multimodal experience. So now we're doing line haul work with Final Mile, even more so. We have a small group truckload to just capture and help some of our clients that we weren't really able to do as much before. Yeah, Tony, digging it. Yeah, I threw one Tony's way. So it's been really, really cool. I mean, watching the people step up in their roles has been great. We're doing a new strategic plan overview. So we have some outside consultants working with us and trying to take it to the next level. So I'm really excited for what we got going on. I feel like I've kind of ducked out of the social media limelight, and I've just been focusing on the day-to-day, quite a bit now, much more.
I got an email from LinkedIn asking where you were.
Haven't seen her. Missing a wanted ad, right?
Making money.
trying to.
It's true though. It's funny you say that. We've been kind of doing the same thing, kind of breaking into different divisions, bringing in people that are expertise in other things, and it's a great way to expand. I think right now when the markets and freight's available, you can break into those things. Before it's like, do we do this? What's our avenue here? And now you got customers like, sometimes even existing, just coming out and saying, hey, this is what I got. Can you help me?
Right.
Makes
And
the
that's
decision
really
much easier.
what you need to do is listen to your customer base and see what
Yep.
they need and try to plug those gaps for them and just make it easy. And
Yep.
so when you do that and you bring the experts in, it just makes a total difference. Total difference.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. Bayman, talk to me.
Well, hey, I appreciate you all having me back on the show. I'm super happy just to come and see everybody, and 1 year and a lot has changed, but again, thank you very much. For me, I've been living life. I'm going to have my second child due in October. I'm going to have a little girl.
That's awesome.
What wasn't planned, but very blessed in that regard. On top of that, I've just been focusing on family, learning as much as I can, trying to learn some more tech sided things, not necessarily industry related, but just overall. And, just still continuing to meet with people and retain relationships and grow.
Wait till you become a girl dad.
Yeah, mine's gonna be 16
You're a girl dad.
in a week. I have a
It's
16.
been a challenging year to say the least, just given everything that's transpired within the world and within life, having my first child, second one on the way. Definitely excited and very blessed, but yeah, I mean, if TJ can have 3 kids, I can do it too.
Yeah, look at this. I don't know if it comes up. Look at this girl. That's my daughter.
Oh
and
my God.
Son.
Holy
She's
moly.
16. She's going to be.
Oh, wow.
The phones are blowing up now. The boys are knocking.
Yep.
It is a very hard time for my husband. He does not like it. She's gorgeous. And so that's the thing though, is just Brandon, one thing I could say as a female myself is just keep instilling those good values in her, and just starting at the age of 5 and 6, letting her know her self-worth and all of those things. And you will make a wonderful female human out there.
Well,
Yep.
And make sure she knows that her value does not come from anyone else.
And it definitely does not come from sharing. Social media and all these things. I'm always like telling my daughter, like, be smart, respect yourself, be smart, respect yourself. And so those are the constant conversations that you have with this situation.
And I'll be honest, after, I left the show earlier in the year, I haven't been as active on any type of social media. Some of that was intentional, but some of it just, you get busy living life, and I love obviously getting back on, but I don't think I realized, or me personally, like how ingrained I was in social media. Obviously COVID played into all that and getting to network and all that. But then I realized, like, dude, I don't even have time to do some of these things. And it doesn't mean that it's not important, but, obviously all of you have children. Mike, I don't think you do, but the rest of you do. And you guys know at first when that happens, like, there is no time, just trying to take care and raise a human. So it's been an awesome year, and again, very blessed. And number 2 will be it. I got an appointment August 6th where I will not be able to have any more children. Scientifically, it would be impossible.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. My wife went down for it at first. I said, I can either do that, or I can fall down a set of stairs or up an escalator, whatever. Just you fall longer.
They said it's a 7-minute process, and they'll give me laughing gas. I said, sign me up, Scotty.
I'm in. It's true though. It depends on, what time in your life, my kids have finally gotten to the age. Yeah, I didn't do social media like at all back in the day, and finally the age where they are. But yeah, I just, you think about it, and, you have that time and a little bit more time, I guess you'd say. But, I'm just one that, like, I try to just go with the real, and since you've kind of been out of it, real life situations, things that pop up, You know, everything that I post, usually almost every single time I post it, it happened that day, or like something like that happened and like gave me an idea. You know, and then I just find a time that, hey, if I'm in the John or whatever it is, Tony, you just got to get it done. So Amy, is that Amy?
Yes.
What are you up to, Amy?
Renaming myself now as I'm logged in on my wife's laptop.
She's a good lady.
Today's world,
She
it's
is.
cool.
Michael Meany,
What's
What are
up,
you
dude?
What are you doing?
Dude, I'm just
Look at the
cruising,
new
man.
slogan. Did you tell them the new slogan that we came up before everyone got on?
No. Oh, need me. It's no longer need me. It's need me. Thank you to thanks
awesome.
to Nicole. But no, I'm good, man. I mean,
That.
our goal was to get to 10 million, and we're already at a run rate of 10 million. So I think we're gonna, I'm gonna hit 15 million in revenue this year. So other than that, I fired a customer. And other than that, just been cruising, man. I don't got any kids. I got a girl that, I should probably spend a little bit more time with, but she gets it. I am dedicated to work, but yeah, that's roughly what I've been doing, man. Just rowing.
Mike, just because you're dedicated to work didn't mean that you're any less of a father. I didn't have till I was my first child. How old am I now? 30. So I was 33. I lived a lot of life up until then. And trust me, there's some days where I'm like, I just want to go to work. And then there's times where I'm like, I can't wait to leave work to get home to the little one. So, keep grinding, man. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, brother.
Can you imagine being a teenage boy coming over to pick up Brandon Bay's teenage daughter for a date and having that guy answer the door?
Yeah.
Right.
Those of you out there in TV land that don't know, we're the same height on Zoom only. Brandon is a very large individual.
I'm 6'5".
Okay,
Wow.
so me and Tony,
With no shoes
I'm
on.
6'5", like 260. I'm pretty healthy.
me and Tony pull up in the cab to the hotel in Vegas, and we get out, and I'm not even across the circle way underneath in front of the hotel where people still drive 35 mile an hour, and this giant is running at me, and I'm out, you know what I mean, and hugged me, and I felt like I was being crushed, but it was like with love still. And it's like totally picked me up or whatever. He had already had a couple barley pops in him or a couple drinks, whatever. And so we were just getting off the plane,
Yeah, TJ was 18 hours late.
Yeah. No, what? All right, I would Tony. We start at the same time. I missed my first flight.
You missed your flight, bro. You were only on my flight because you missed yours.
I know. And mine didn't have a layover. We had a layover in Denver for an hour. That's terrible. But yeah. Well, there was a giant snowstorm on the way to Indy, and apparently Indianapolis won't wait on you. Whatever. But yeah, he's a large man, very large man,
big fella.
But I got to sleep with Tony, so I didn't have to worry about any room. I had to worry about snoring. I still have that pack of earplugs that I went and bought down at the CVS. I do. My wife asked me what they were for. I'm like, Tony Darnell.
Yeah,
it was bad.
The hotel still has your comb too.
It was bad. Oh no, I got that. I need that every single day. So, Tony, what do you got going now? Obviously, we talk all the time, but let everybody else talk. Let's just all kind of talk where we're at. I mean, what do you got going? I mean, I know you're busy, but
so we're crazy busy. We're still just blowing it out of the water, kind of like Nicole. I mean, every day seems to be like a record. Every month, every week, we're doing volume increases. We're staffing up. Culture change from not the company, but just like the department, the team, changing the way we've always done things to scale so that it can continue to grow and have that level of discipline so that we can continue to be accurate, concise, and efficient with scalability. And that's really tough.
I've
It's
seen
really tough when everybody's used to head knowledge stuff, tribal.
Your team seems to be really happy with your leadership because even seeing some of the pictures,
them like me.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see. I mean, someone even said it's my first post on LinkedIn, and it's because of this amazing team. And you can tell that your team is responding very well to your leadership, and that's completely awesome. So congratulations there.
I really fell in love with the company because everybody talks about having a great culture. Everybody talks about treating their people well.
Not necessarily.
Well, a lot of places will tell you all of those things, and
They'll tell you
they're
that,
selling
yeah.
that to you. But I love where I'm at because they really do. They are invested heavily in people development, in business being a force for good, and it's gotten to the point where other companies come to us. Like we had a pork manufacturer out of Iowa come to our plant the other day to find out how they could be like us. We have nothing to do with animal products, the food industry, a slaughterhouse, nothing like that. But we have great employees who love coming to work.
How did they
That's
hear
what they
about
want.
you?
Good is good, right? It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Right.
A good person or a good culture is
We
essentially just
we
good.
we celebrate wins, and we celebrate wins publicly, and we talk about how great our team is on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatever else the kids are doing these days. But it's great to celebrate each other, and it's awesome, and people see that, and then they want to work there.
Well, I've got a question, Tony, because I mean, I've worked in manufacturing, and when I lived in Kokomo, Indiana, I worked at Chrysler. And for the most part, those type of jobs, manufacturing, things of that nature, like there's not really a culture. It's pretty much shift work. Everybody just kind of comes in and does their thing. What do you think separates Lippert Components apart from all those other manufacturers?
It's being very, very, very intentional. We develop leadership and add opportunities, and as we grow, we let people grow, and there's opportunity that I've never seen anywhere else available to anyone at Lippert.
That's awesome. Are you guys hiring?
Always.
So I mean, you should share that because
Go on.
people
I
are
mean, if you're
looking
local in this area, come work. You will love it. And work's a 4-letter word, and we have so many plants all over the country. It's lippertcomp.com/careers. You can see what's available out there. But Jason Lippert, I've been there, I don't know, since October, late September, 1st of October, somewhere right in there. And I have met with him and interacted with him. He knows my name. He knows my story. He remembers me. He can call up past events. I've never had that at a company this size. No way at a company this size where that guy knows who I am. He came up, and I can't verify this. I don't know this, but I was told that he used to weld in one of the axle manufacturing plants. They're not just handed the keys and said, "Here you go." I mean, he's earned his stripes, and that's got a lot of respect from a lot of folks. They're very accessible, very extremely accessible. His brother's in sales. He's late 20s, young family, and he's cool. I text him all the time. I was talking to him this morning, had a shipment for him. Got that on the road. Yeah, I mean, they're not just, his grandparents started it and got it going and made it what it is, but they weren't ever just said, "Here you go."
That's impressive because usually after first generation, things change. So the fact that you're saying grandparents,
Yeah,
legacy company, and that's really hard to do. So that's
it
impressive.
is. A lot of that came because he was very intentional. It's about 7-8 years ago, he had a belief set change in his own life that carried over into the business. And, there's a lot of this. Everybody was encouraged to get on board, even though they were already there and part of the old culture. And it honestly wasn't very good. They had a not great reputation. And he made a conscious decision that business can be a force for good in the community and to its employees, and that happy employees are productive employees. Productive employees are long-term employees that are happy, and long-term employees that are happy are more productive. And it's this vicious cycle of good.
Mm-hmm.
And you can recreate that and amplify it and feed it.
That's what I try to do being a small company, now we're up to 24 people. So in a year, it's gone double for us, if not more, and trying to just keep doing that even at 24. It takes effort. And so, kudos to your owner for doing that, because it does. And I know, TJ, you have that too with where you are. Your owner, the size you are, is very active and involved and seems to be a great leader, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like I said, I always talk about how there's 10 guys in a room slinging freight, and my owner is he's very to the point and on top of things. But I don't know. I mean, he's not hard on you, but he expects a lot. But he's also one where, if when I mentioned that I was gonna, purchase a new home, he's calling me, out of nowhere, just saying, hey, did you see over here? There's one here. And I'm in he calls me in his office. He always sends this email. If you get an email and all it is a subject line in lowercase letters that says "see me," it's usually not good. So he sends one of those out. I come in there and he's like, what are you guys doing? What kind of loan you? And he's like, I got a couple tips. He's giving me tips and stuff, and just even about life. What he's went through, all the things he's done. I guess he's mentioned, I kind of remind him of him. So like he'll even mention things like this that he went through that he doesn't, necessarily want me to. So make sure I'm on the right track, and you can just tell he cares, and as we've grown, he tries to keep that, that same thing. And I mean, it's unbelievable. 200 some people here in the Fort Wayne office alone in the last year. I'm walking out every day not knowing who people are. I mean,
well, you can fix that, TJ.
They tend to come up and know who I am. So yeah, but you know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. So at first I didn't know like exactly how to approach that, right? I've never been around that. So yeah, I'm out there on the floor all the time, and I had a bunch of handle it t-shirts from my previous order that didn't get shipped out.
Oh, thanks. I never got one either.
I saw Tony with it and I was like, what the hell?
Never got one.
I went to my HR guy and I said, listen, if we do another batch, can who you order it from arrange to have them sent to these people so that it doesn't happen to go through?
They come there to Indiana. Why don't you just take to the post office and get our address and ship it?
I'm pretty sure I took it out of his suitcase in Vegas.
We had somebody that was previously in charge of it, and the box ended up being in their car they're no longer with us for like ever. They never got it done. So I ended up getting that back. So I handed out t-shirts to everybody. But anyway, so my owner, yeah, he'll go out and he'll walk around and he'll even send out, they're not necessarily like bad emails, but like it's like, brand new carriage sales reps, and they get an email from Eric Fortmeyer saying, hey, why isn't this load on tracking? Or where did what's going on here? It looks like drivers on tracking. And this person's like just started with us. You know what I mean? And the owner's like, he's going through, like he's just involved in everything. So it's a good thing. And he's a type that after that happens, he knows how it works. So after that happens, he'll go out there later in the day and go, my hands are going, and just, things like that. So yes, it's been a lot of growth, but it's been pretty cool. It's changed how I approach things and how I see things. There's a lot less pressure. It's really helped us. When we started growing just revenue wise, Fort Wayne, Indiana doesn't have a ton of logistics talent. So, finding the people that have experience or whatever is tough. With COVID, we really nailed the remote work. And we're able to get people from, Atlanta and Chicago and Detroit, and some of that talent that we've been able to bring in has really, really helped bring some middle management, take some pressure off of me and the other two directors. It seemed it got to that point. And so part of my job now is to get some brick and mortar around them, build an office, help them develop their strategies and what they're doing with the freight they have and what they can do. So
what year was your company founded?
2011.
Okay. So that's like really good growth. And that
but here's the thing. And this is just my opinion, whether it's Slipper or Candor or Circle, my first logistics job was with Mid-America, and I was there for 5 years, but they afforded me the opportunity to grow, to learn, to advance. And I think anytime that companies provide that for employees and give them that ability, I think that, those companies are going to be set up for success. And yeah, there are companies in mega growth and obviously Circle grew very quickly, but, just because these other companies grow, I guess my thing is like, well, everybody's growing, but you want to grow, but at what point is it like that you don't need to grow, right? Everybody's happy, you're able to advance, you're able to promote people. Everybody says they want to get to this number, they want to get to that number, but do we really need to?
It's
when does it stop?
I don't know.
It's all about structure.
I was going to say, I think it depends on what you're trying to accomplish and how the team is at that time and what opportunities are and where the vision goes. I think if you work for a company though that says, hey, we're good, everybody, you've done a great job.
Right.
We've been around since 2011. We're hitting our numbers. Let's just keep at it. People, I mean, at least for me, even with 23, 24 people, they're like, what's your vision, Nicole?
Yeah.
They want to hear that. They want to be a part of that growth. So I don't think you
What can I do next?
But you gotta have the structure, and you gotta have the idea of, like for us, that's a big challenge for us. We've intentionally sat down to say, you look at why a Landstar or TQL gets a bad rep, right? The reason is you get agents, right? Or you get offices that are not, from what had started, and that culture is based on whoever that person is, not on the company, right? The culture of that satellite office, the culture of that agency, that agent, whatever it is based off of them, right? And so how do we keep our culture? So if you can sit down and intentionally structure it correctly, in which that's what I said, with some of the changes we made, pulling me and our two other directors and our VP out of the weeds to be able to keep that culture, constant contact with, the 5 offices that I oversee outside of Fort Wayne, right? And another director with 5 offices, and you're grooming those people and you're building. And so now you've got talent, and there's one person that you say you got Denver, Colorado, and they've got talent, and they're able to bring in business, and you're able to add people there, right? So, those offices feed through the Fort Wayne office, but just in general, when you run numbers and everything in a group, because they can utilize then our Fort Wayne carrier sales team if they need it, right? As they grow, right? You got a customer and you need some help, right? You got the big Fort Wayne carrier sales team here. So there's like a way to do it in which you can keep the culture, stay in there on how we do things, what we want done, and still be able to expand, even if it's not necessarily in your local home headquarters.
It's kind of funny you said that, because I actually had a firsthand experience. It was pretty cool. As I worked for Worldwide Express, and we were franchised out, right? And the cool thing was my franchise owner was the senior vice president of sales of corporate. So I remember in 2016, we were obviously they made a decision to stop the franchise model, and they were going to buy up. And the funny thing is like every franchise had their own culture and they had their own vision. And obviously, just because, our franchise, our owner was the senior vice president of sales at corporate, we were one of the first people to get bought, right? To go into corporate, to this corporate model. And it was interesting because when they looked at culture, we took all these culture tests, like, you can only do so much, especially when you're buying up a ton of franchise. I mean, a ton, like I think there was over 500 franchises, but their goal was, okay, we're going to take the offices that have the culture we're looking for, and those are the ones we're going to implement their strategies across the entire board, right? So I don't know, it was just pretty interesting. It's like to see that from like $1 billion company at that point, where it was just like, wow, this is interesting. It's like, okay, we're going to take a little bit of this, a little bit of this. We definitely don't want that. We definitely don't want that. And if those offices that weren't a fit, it was, either you hop on board or you don't. And that was pretty powerful, because it was like, you need to nip the ones in the butt that don't fit the culture sooner rather than later. And even if they were like a huge office, right? It wasn't about, their mindset. Profits. Yeah. Their mindset was like, listen, at this point, one big office doesn't make a company, doesn't scale a company, So it was like, either, again, get on board, or I don't know. It was way above my pay grade, but it was interesting to see.
It's kind of why we changed that model, because when we first started, like our Chicago, now we got lucky, like our Chicago office started by Andy Smith, but they started as like P&Ls. I mean, they're kind of like their own separate-ish satellite office. And then, Jason Krieger in Toledo and Ryan Kramer in Detroit. And so we got lucky with those 3, but we noticed, like other ones that would try to kind of start up just didn't have that, because it was they had their own, they kind of started their own thing. And then, so now any offices, whether the new ones, Nashville, Indianapolis, Phoenix, Denver, Atlanta, North Carolina, those are all through the Fort Wayne office. So when they come in, we've had a great success because of COVID. So we've been able to, first of all, when you hire them in, we fly them into Fort Wayne, and we put them up in a hotel for a week or 2, right? They do all their training here. They meet everybody. They see the structure, see how it works. And then as they grow, again, they can utilize all our track and trace is based here, right? All our carrier cells. Now, as they grow, maybe build a pod around a certain account, they can have their own carrier sales rep within their office that we do that. But because of COVID, because of the Zoom and the reach out that we've been able to have, now I can sit down every morning and have a Zoom call with Megan Reed down in Arizona, right? And be able to mentor her and give her ideas and feed her fuel. And when she says, hey, I reached out to Derek, who's our VP, about this, I couldn't get that done. I'll go down to his office now, I'll help you out. right? These are things that now you can do that you couldn't necessarily do before. I mean, the idea of me grooming and building a Phoenix office meant I go down there for 3 months. I mean, that's what my owner used to do. He used to he'd go stay wherever it was and stay there for a couple months to get it up and running. And now we can do that remotely. And it's been a great way, like Mike said, to keep their off. They have like their identity, right, as their offices. So they're built as like a different terminal in our system that you can run reports. But so they have that kind of that private, but they always go through and who they report out to and everything is the Fort Wayne headquarters, and they have the that connection right to that. And what we talk about, how we do things, is what they know they got to fall in line with.
Hey, Nicole, I got a question. You've done obviously very well. I know that your niche or your expertise was expedite, and obviously that you've grown. How are you at 24 employees growing, implementing processes, creating new roles, and giving those people that are just starting to come in as you grow and giving them that vision? Like, obviously you're very influential and you've done a great job. So I just want to get your take on how you're doing that, because your culture is great, your marketing's great, you're great. So how do you do that for a company that's growing like yours?
Just staying in communication, talking to people, involving people. So like we have executive and management lead, and we could just leave it there, right? We could just say, this is what it is, and cram. But even with this new side of consultants that are coming in to help us with this strategic plan, we're bringing all mid-level management in. We're having we're implementing EOS, which is Entrepreneurial Operating Systems. You know about that? So it's basically bringing all of those people in, giving them their accountabilities and letting them know, but then having that autonomy. I work for places where they go, you have the autonomy, and then I would do something and it was a lie because it'd get undone. And so this whole thing, I had someone today send something to me and I was like, hey, again, just want to let you know, like, you guys take care of that. Let me know what you guys want to do, where I could do more of that. This is what it is. But I tell my team, it is the biggest quote where I say, this is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. We're coming together to create something that we all have a hand in so we can take it forward. Because if I just try to cram my concepts and ideas, because my job is to be that visionary and to throw the spaghetti against the wall and see what works and hear what people have to say and hear what they have to say and implement that stuff. But again, it's that open-mindedness and that EOS.
Middle management's so key. Middle management's so key there, because if you can take those people that were your top producers or even your leaders or whatever, and bring them up out of the weeds, now you've got your checks and balances. Because it's like, Nicole, you don't have to feel like you're cramming ideas down anybody's throat, because you're sitting in a room. You allow them now to think higher level, right? Sit in a room and discuss things and bounce things off each other, because you've now got management to handle the day-to-day grind. And if you don't have that, you won't get that checks and balance or those ideas, and it'll always kind of feel that way, because those people aren't involved with the higher level stuff, and then the people below them aren't involved with that. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting that tier system in which now you've got people that can take it off your plate, Nicole, because as you grow, that's when I've talked to our owners, like, it's a lot, right? And if you don't have anybody else that you can trust to make those decisions for you, you're making all of them.
Right.
Well, I will tell you, I don't know if you've started EOS yet.
We're implementing.
Okay. It's great. It's going to be great for you. It's going to give leadership, middle management, and everybody the ability to know their role, what they're responsible for. It's going to create ideas. It's going to give people input. And one thing you'll learn about it is IDS: identify, discover, and solve. Mm-hmm. And so I love EOS. It's a great program. Sometime next week.
Ownership.
Yep. Sometime next week, Nicole, if we have time to connect, I'll kind of tell you all about my experience. And it's an ongoing thing. Yeah. But I'm super. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a little nugget here. You guys are awesome. I love the growth. I love the mindset. I love the attention to wanting to keep that culture. Let me tell you what we did. Lippert did $1 billion in Q1.
They did what? Right? I'm sorry, Tony.
Lippert Components.
Q1 was $1 billion.
Damn. That's great.
Not the year. Awesome. That was Q1. That's public information. You can search it out and find it.
Is that a B?
Yeah, B.
It's like the translate sale to Bill.
So here's the deal. To get a culture that is as good as we have, It is, how do you keep that growth? How do you keep all that going? It's so intentional. It's ridiculously expensive. You know what we did? How do you keep that going? How do you keep that? When is enough enough? I heard that question asked. It's never enough. As long as there are kids that are hungry, we're going to be packing backpacks on our own time with our teammates down at the homeless or at the food bank.
Be
And
two
when you're
steps
in there
ahead.
doing that, you know what? Jason Lippert might be right next to you because we lead by example all
Yeah.
the way to the top.
Yeah.
It's all the way to the top every time. Every plant adopts a park in the municipality that they operate in. We clean that park. That's my park. I go down to McNaughton Park and we pick up garbage. We pick up sticks. We rake leaves. That is our park for our kids, for our employees' kids to play in. We
So-
own
so-
this now.
So Tony, real quick, and that's
What made you do
amazing.
that?
From a company standpoint or from a personal standpoint, when you're able to get to a point to give back, to help others, and especially from a company like that promotes that community service and helping others that are within need or to help, like, dude, that's a great feeling, not only personally, but from a company standpoint that they want to do it and they involve their employees and they have employees that are giving back. There's
We
no
count those
better
hours.
there's no better feeling or gratitude than being able to help and give back. And
When the community
that's
knows that
great.
that company's clean, when the community knows that company's clean up a park, right? And they know that company's doing that, those employees then, when they're walking around with a Lippert shirt on, feel that pride. They feel like, hey, like they feel proud to wear that shirt out and about because of what their reputation becomes in the community. But
You know what? We're not the only company in town that's hiring.
What days do you go to the park to clean?
It's set up by, we have a team called Amplify and people are voluntarily on this committee and the Amplify team sets it up. So tomorrow we have a car wash. Management is going to wash
What
cars
time?
of our employees. It's in the afternoon.
That's awesome.
that is awesome.
So if you
It's a
get a hold of
fundraiser.
Tony,
Our employees are paying money to us to wash the cars, and then we're donating. Last week it was the women's shelter. This week I think it's a humane society. But we're always giving back.
All right.
And-
So how
and-
do you, because this is something that I would love to do more of, right? And I'm trying to get my team to like pick a cause. There's so many good causes that you can go to. How does your team find these places, Tony, to like dive into that? Is there someone who leads that up that I could talk to? Brandon, you're raising your hand. What?
No, I'll let Tony go, but I want to jump in
I
after
think
that.
it's frozen. I think it's frozen.
Nicole, I can tell you, we just did something. We did that, and we put out a poll
Yeah.
of things that and in our area, the humane shelter was a big one, and so we actually and then we have a customer that we've had forever. Okay, and they're right just down the road here in Fort Wayne, well, just outside of Fort Wayne, and I've gotten to know the guy that runs it pretty well, and Carrie, who's in our dispatch, she's one of our CSRs. She's just super cool, and she runs all the appointments, so she knows them real well, and she's great at running events. So she reached out to them and said, hey, why don't we do a fundraiser for the humane shelter? And so I got on the phone. I know that Tom likes to golf, and so I said, why don't you get 4 teams of 4, and I'll get 4 teams of 4, and we'll do a golf outing. Okay, and what we'll do is we're going to get, so we've got 4 teams of 4, so we got 16 people from Circle now, 4 different teams, and there's 16 people from our customer, right?
Mhm.
That we ship for, that we run their freight for them, and there's a golf outing set, and right now, leading up to that, there's a contest. There's 2 contests. Number 1, obviously the golf outing. So the first thing is who gets the most donations. So everything from kitty litter to food to you can do money, whatever it is from Circle, right? We stockpile our stuff, they stockpile theirs. We're gonna have it all brought out to the golf course on the first tee, and it's gonna be all stacked up. And then whoever wins gets to take a picture in front of it, probably do a trophy or something, so we can do this every year.
Yeah.
And then that winning team gets to deliver it. And it's going to be one of those things where, like, don't tell anybody. This isn't a live show, is it? But like, if we win, we're going to get there. We're going to deliver it. The newspaper will take a picture, but we're going to invite them to come be in that with us, right? I mean, so at the end of the day, it's all just for a good cause, to have a little bit of fun, build some relationships, and be involved in the community.
So
No, that's cool.
something to add, when I moved to Nashville, I wanted to network, but I didn't know anyone. So I was thankful enough to be one of the co-founders of the Nashville Transportation Club. I've since stepped down, and Chris, one of the other co-founders, picked up, and they had an amazing turnout on Freight Waves, and they had their first golf tournament a couple months ago. But that was the thing is we were 501(c) non-for-profit, and we wanted to network, empower, and educate. So if you can talk to your employees, like, and that's what we did as a club as we formed, like, who do we want to give back? What do we want to do out of this? And we wanted to educate, right? Because we all want to be educated and learn. And then we also wanted to network and empower people to grow. And so a couple of things that we did as we started networking is just so many people getting involved, right? And anything that you can find, educational wise for your employees that you can to help them in some way, but also give back to a non-for-profit. I mean, these companies are, especially non-for-profits, are thriving for people to jump in and help them, to lend a hand, to give them an opportunity. But for us, growing the board and figuring out what do we want to give back to, we just all made a decision together. And the idea was to raise money throughout the year, give out a scholarship, or put someone through truck driving school, right?
Right, because that's a direct impact. That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. I did not get to see a scholarship before I decided to move on, but I think they're on the right track this year, and with things opening up, I'm excited and to see that first recipient get that scholarship, because at the end of the day, that was my goal, was to help others. And again, once you start giving back and helping others and educating them, there's just no better feeling.
And that's another thing, Brandon, when we talk offline, I want to hear how you developed that. Would you call it a 509c?
I would say it, that's 5013C, which is a non-for-profit. And so, anything that you make, obviously no one gets paid, but
Right.
The idea is to be able to pay for the club activities, put things on, and then, whatever's left over, be able to give out scholarships and prepare for the next year. So I will help with whatever I can.
I would love to learn how to do that, because there's things.
Well, you might have a little bit more help, because Tony, I'll let everybody know. You good? You good with me letting everybody know? So Tony Darnell,
doing this thing yet.
me, Tony Darnell, Pete Kemp, and Anton King, who's we are starting the Northern Indiana Transportation Club. So there is an Indianapolis one, so we're going Northern Indiana with it. So going more of a region, but Brandon Bays literally got us all the information sent over, like super helpful. Gave us like everything, like how you do it, how you do the rundown. Pete Kemp is so good at that stuff. He started other not-for-profits, so he's putting a lot of that together. Tony's really just the face of it, because he's my best friend. Anton King.
And his shirt's awesome. Awesome.
Anton King is the executive director of economic development in DeKalb County. He'll also be on the board with us, and we've got a couple other people. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a big thing, Northern Indiana. So scholarships, like he said, make it easier to do those types of things. If Mike comes back, does a little bow hunting this year or whatever, you can come to one of the mixers. But Nicole, as we go through the process, Nicole, we can just keep you up there on exactly how we do it, because we're we're getting the information from him, but we're kind of doing it ourselves as well. So you can have two different examples, and
Yeah.
Well,
and-
I will tell
I
you.
do that for LLC too. I mean, that's an awesome thing. Sorry, Brandon, go for it.
No. What I was going to say is, the key to the National Transportation Club's continued success, and honestly, like, I was able to team up with some great people. I mean, Chris and Cecil, who are still part of the club, helped me found it. We had John Brewer, he's my mentor, but also the advisor of the club.
I love that guy.
I know.
He's awesome.
Good.
So we were just able to find the right people that really cared and wanted to do some cool stuff. And so that's kind of what I told TJ and Tony, like, you got to pick your board and make sure that they're in it for the right reasons and that they truly care, because starting a non-for-profit is a lot of work and it costs money, and we didn't have any. But we had a lot of people pitch in, and I'm just very proud.
I have a dumb question, Brandon. This is
No questions are dumb, Nicole.
All right. So if, say, this transportation club was like all brokerages, do you think it would be harder to get people? So Tony, this is where I'm going to kind of challenge you. I think it would be more beneficial if you did bring some more shipper relationships to the table, because
some
people
folks.
do want to be a part of those relationships, to network and build business. But also, I mean, it just attracts that.
Well,
So I was curious,
Brandon said from the beginning, you know, when you got brokers involved, he told us right, he's like, you know, you got to set the rules right up front. You know, have these young brokers coming and passing out cards and stuff. You know, you scare those types of people away. But, you know, from Tony's standpoint, we're going to put it together, but we're assuming, you know, Lippert's going to be a little bit more involved. Kip, you know, who my neighbor was on one of those shows, the Shippers Tell All.
Kip was a good
supply chain director of supply chain for a long time, will be. So it's going to be that where it's going to be very diverse group of people, and we're not out here soliciting, we're not handing out cards. And Brandon, you can explain it better, I think, but you know, that's one of the things we want to make sure we're doing.
Try to get some women, guys. I went to a transportation.
Well, we will
hold on. So real quick,
all right.
Last thing I'll say. So that was one of the things that we talked about, and because at first when you're setting out these TJ called it a mixer, but you know, you get a sponsor and then you have people show up and you're saying like, what's the club about? Well, this is what we're about. We don't want people handing out cards, right? And as many brokers can come if they want, but we just say, hey, like, you know, this is what we're about. We're here to build relationships, not necessarily build business. If business comes later on down the road, that's fine, but we're not here to build business. We're here to get to know one another. And we really weren't trying to scare anyone off. We were just saying, this is what we're about. We were very fortunate and lucky to have John mentor us and be a shipper. And then we were also very fortunate to have Abby, which I butcher her last name, even though I've known her for a long time, Haffenborough, which is still part of the club. She lives in Chicago now, I think. She was one of our first board members of her board member of, drawing a blank, diversity chair. She was the diversity chair, right? So her goal was to diversify our club. We had Emily, which came on as the second lady on our board. And so, yeah, we had a diverse board with women included, with shippers, and we were able to have the same vision and really take it to the next level. In fact, Freight Waves was coming to Nashville. It's going to be our first event. We planned the Nashville Transportation Educational Series. I think it was like May 20th. COVID hit. Obviously, they canceled it in that April. Everything went into lockdown. But earlier this year, Freight Waves came to the club and still stayed in contact, and they were put on that webinar, right? So, you know, again, the club's taken off. We had a diverse chair with the same vision. But Nicole, you're absolutely right. You got to have women involved. Yep. You got to make sure that if brokers are there, that they're there for the right reasons. And I've only done it once, but that will make you successful.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. I went to a networking event, my first one in Dallas, Tuesday. And there was some women there, but it was mostly men. I think it was probably, I'm going to say 5% females. Has nothing to do with you guys. I'm telling the women to get out there.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do anything to get them to come out. They have to do that themselves. And
I'm
trying to urge, like, women, go meet some people, go and introduce yourself, because it's great to meet different people and understand what's going on in different parts of the country and industries and all of that stuff. And you find
great that, like, for me, like what you said there, I'm going to go out. Sometimes they just need that little bit of a boost, maybe, or confidence. So I go out, I'm already out looking for them. I mean, we already got a couple sign up to do it. And like look at the show, even, you know, I thought, you know, poor dudes, you know, like, and so I was like, oh, let's find some women. So, but what you do is you run into things like a Nicole Glenn, who was better than any guy I would have found. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole opportunity that if you're out there pursuing that, right, and doing that, and you know, somebody may just jump all over it. Didn't know the opportunity existed, or whatever it is, but you know, because you tend to go to your buddies or whatever it is, you know, just get it out there, and you know, try not to put them on the spot. I have a little bit of confidence when I talk to them about, like, you know, what they could do and what their role would be. But yeah, it's so important, because you get not just a diversity of people, but a diversity of talent.
Mm-hmm.
I've hired a few ladies lately in key roles, and somebody came to me today and said, "Hey, are you it was a woman in a leadership role, and she said, are you purposefully hiring women now because you see that we can run the show? I was like, no, I'm hiring the best candidate. It doesn't
Right.
matter what's going on anywhere. It's
That's the hard
just
part, Tony, like even being a female, because people go, do you just go after women? And I'm like, no, I do have to go after the best candidate, but I do urge women to like put themselves out there a little bit
Come
more.
forward.
Yeah.
right. I see a whole
Because when
lot
they
less.
do, they know that like say when you do that though, right? And you actively look for that talent, but also have that in your mind. People start to know that. So Tony, as you hire more women, women start to know, hey, Tony does that, or I promoted. I feel like I promoted more women here than I have anybody else, just because of how they handle freight, which I always think is excellent. But now the other women here are thinking, wow, I've got a shot, or I've got a chance. Maybe I've been in a shell before, but because they're seeing it happen. Again, it's always about talent at the end of the day, but you're at least showing that it's possible.
Mm-hmm. Tony, what were you going to say though? Because I want to hear your point too.
I lost it. TJ derailed my train of thought.
Sorry.
It's not about diversity or even doing that on purpose. It's just about finding the right person. And it's just been my experience that, there's a lot more women that are less assertive than they should be when it comes to this. And if you encourage a female who is in a role to speak up and go get something that's out there, man, when they do, look out.
Hey, Nicole, you'll when you start EOS, you'll learn, is it the right person in the right seat? And that's kind of at the right time. Do they want it? Are they capable? There's just, I don't know. We talked about EOS, and there's so many things within leadership and business. You get people and you hear those things coming out through people that's been through that and really think like that. And I don't know. Right person, right seat.
People like, do they want it? Because I think I did read some things that are stats on, I know we're talking about a lot of female stuff right now, but men will typically enter into a space when they're uncomfortable. They're not ready yet, but they'll go, shit, fuck it, I'll do it. Sorry, I dropped my phone. I'll do it. Women tend to go, I'm not ready yet. I don't think I can do that. And so they're more reserved with that. And so
and less assertive.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to say, like, you are capable. Do you want it? And do that a little bit more. And then they tend to stand up.
We have almost 1,100 people at our plant, and I had there's a lady in another department that left, but she came to me and asked, what do I do to move up? I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I said, have you ever told anybody you want to? Well, no. If they should see my work and recognize that. I said, go tell them you want more. Mm-hmm. Go tell them to give you all the crap so that you can kill it and show them that you're ready for more, and then move up. Don't take no for an answer. Go sell yourself. And she's like, oh, no, my work speaks for itself. If they want me, they'll come and get me. I said, that's your problem.
No.
That Jordan Peterson, I've listened to him. Now, he approaches some things a little bit wrong, I'd say. But he's made some good points, because feminists kind of go after him because he works to get people more living in reality of how to fix the problem rather than discuss it or like just bitch about it. And so, but when he does that in reality, he has to talk facts, right? And sometimes when the facts come out, people don't like it. But like anyways, his point is that like, he was kind of being talking about the women pay gap or whatever, and he was kind of bringing how it was a multi-variable thing, whatever. But they brought up one of the ladies who was a very, very strongly feminist, said something about the pay gap, and he had mentioned that he's a psychologist too. He's like a doctor, like he's extremely well read and respected, and well spoken to. And he's like, the studies are in. If you study it, women tend to be more agreeable than men, and men tend to be a little bit more aggressive than men. And so the lady was trying to set him up. She's like, so you're saying that women will never? He's like, no, actually, in his like field, he actually works with women on strategies to get ahead in business, to get it to empower them to go in. And so when you're more agreeable, you tend to not go push the limit, go into your office and say, I need a raise. And so not only does he work with women, but he works with companies on that, knowing that there's an opportunity for that, right? Maybe having meet and greets or whatever with whoever it is, a CEO, but things like that get them more. It's just the natural, I mean, it's just even based on studies. And so when you're aware of that stuff, I think is the biggest thing, is just making sure those opportunities are known, that they're there. And that way, somebody like you said, Tony, isn't just saying, well, I'll let my work speak for myself. and then she sees other women getting that, and she's like, well, maybe I should do that, right? Because the opportunities
Well,
there.
she's mad, but I don't think
Right.
that's gender basis. I think that's both. You'll hear that on either gender, where it's like,
Right.
well,
There's tons of guys that are the same way.
right.
If anybody, and I can tell you this, no matter if
And he
it's
says that
female-
it's like it's the studies show that that's the case. It's not like it's a huge difference, but he said the biggest thing is the outliers, the extremes, right? They tend to be more alike in the middle. It's the extremes that where you see the big differences, right? With aggression, like the percentage of men that are in jail because they tend to be more aggressive, because on the extreme end, you have to do something really extreme to go to jail, right? So it tends to be more on the extremes. And so just being aware of that may be the case, whether it is with women or men, because if you do that, if you open it up in general, even the men that may be more agreeable that don't go in and do it can take advantage.
Hey, Hold My Beer's birthday is now, and mine is pretty close here. But let me tell you, after 46 years, it doesn't take a lot of extreme to go to jail. I've never been in jail, but you can get there really easy.
My birthday was 2 days ago.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Tony. But yeah,
Mike made me.
So two real quick, and I wanted to add on that. I don't care if you're a woman or your first day on the job. If you want something, ask for it, ask how to get there, and then get it done.
Yep.
I was raised by a woman, and I'll tell you that. Just go do what you got to do. I watched this woman raise me in Detroit and put herself through her master's degree. And now she owns 3 companies. So I actually lived that life of watching a woman just go take what she wants versus, waiting for it. So yeah, I think that we should have got Mama Neems on here. That's what we should have done.
Yeah, we got
You know
That's
what?
next week.
I want to meet her.
Seriously.
I do.
Nicole, don't you have that show you with women? Bring her on that one.
I
Okay.
should.
Can
Yeah, I'll ask
you do
her.
the intro and I'll have her on LLC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you picture me, we're identical, but she's really like old school. Like I was kicked out of my house.
Fast. She talks.
Oh, 100, really fast. But like from her
Awesome.
religious beliefs and all that, like she was like, I can't believe you got tattoos. You're out of my house. I remember the first tattoo I got. I came back from college, and I was like trying to hide it. It was on my arm. It was like a tree. And my mom's like, "Why do you?" I feel like moms just always know. But yeah, she was like, "Why are you wearing a hoodie?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm cold." And I remember she was like, "Take that hoodie off right
Okay.
now."
No, you're not.
But no, she's it's just, people always say is like, I think there's a lot to be, there was a lot that I learned, and I think that it's helped me scale. Just watching a powerful woman, being raised by a powerful woman it's a beautiful thing. And obviously, like, I'm not saying like, it's not cool not to have a dad, but like, I don't know. I think I don't know. I think there's a lot more stronger women out there that should be in higher positions than they already are, or than they are. But like you said, Nicole, it's like, it's kind of on them too, or it's kind of like surrounding themselves around other stronger women that have actually done it and taking advice from them versus a man, right? Like, because I watched it, but it's like hearing it from me is not the same as hearing it from the woman.
I don't know.
that's
I mean,
actually
all of my mentors before COVID, for the most part, were men. So there's nothing wrong with that either.
No,
Yes.
and but sometimes the path is different. So like, again, like just exposing what the path could be, because men tend to, women have to deal with they tend to have their lives figured out sooner, really, at the end of the day, because if you're having children or getting married or whatever it is, and men there's more than their fair share of men that really just kind of disregard that and work so much and put all their time into that to get to the top, right? And is that the only path? Is that the only thing you could do? Is not really be a family person and work and put all these hours in? And no, it's not the only path there. It's the one that gets exposed the most. So if you expose more paths to it, you're giving more opportunity to people that don't want to do that path, or or can't do that path. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I will tell you that obviously I've started my children a little bit later in life than the average, right? But I can tell you that no matter the work, no matter how much time you put in, like nothing replaces family. Obviously we moved this over and I'll fill you guys in, but 2 weekends ago, I had an accident and hit my head, fell into some water, was underwater for 27 seconds, ended up going to get stitches. Got like 9 stitches in my lip.
It's a little still swollen, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And when they did the CAT scan, I had some bleeding on the brain, so they had to put me in the trauma and all kinds of medicine. I didn't realize.
Yeah, you must have smoked your head.
Oh, dude, I did.
Dude, he sent me the video. It's not me.
And so, like, I don't know. Things changed. Like, whenever I could really finally process what exactly happened and what could have happened, then you start to really process and realize that, like, no matter the job, no matter the work, how many hours you put in, like, the only thing that really matters is your family, your life in general, and that some of these things that people worry about or fight for, it really doesn't matter anymore. So I know you all have family and kids and things, but when something like that happens, like, it just puts things into perspective so much. And again, like, I'm still driven to work, but I think, and this only happened like 2 weeks ago, but even more so, I'm just like, I can turn it off and just stop, and more present, and realize that, like, you never know what will happen. I kind of went off on a tangent, so I'm sorry.
Without getting hit in the head. Luckily, I had this without getting hit in the head. It was when I held my daughter the very first time.
Man,
what I thought my truck was cool and was important and valuable, and suddenly I realized it was just a stupid car.
You did.
Yeah.
I held my daughter
Everything was
17
awesome.
and a half years ago, and my world changed. And everything I do is for my kids. And then I realized that you can't put your kids in front of your wife. And so many people do that. They put their kids in front of their wife, and the kids grow up, and then they have a terrible marriage because there's no relationship there. And then,
Let me ask you this though. Let's flip it. I read a book, but, like, what if somebody wants to, like, do, like, I always think of that, like, right? It's like, and I agree, like, family and everything, but it's like, I think that there's something to say about the people that sacrifice that for
Right.
greatness, for
That's why I
greatness,
said
right?
that's why I said
100%.
It's still a path, right? It's still a path to
Yeah.
it.
It might not be the best path.
Exposing other paths,
It's
right?
it's
to-
not
to
even
it as
about
well.
what's the best path. It's about whatever you want your own path to be. And that's
Right.
what I've been trying to tell my kids. Like, society doesn't dictate if you even need to get married and have kids. Like, you do you.
right.
And I think that's something that we don't say enough to every generation. It's not that you have to live by the book and do this and that. It's do what's
Exposing
best
those
for you.
other paths, not even, like you said, not whether one's better
Exactly.
than the other. I mean, it's not whether one's better. It's just like making it known that, hey, this is a different path you could take to get there.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
people maybe that
well-
may not know it.
Well, I will tell you that, my son's only 14 months old, but, part of the reason I left my prior company was because I literally lived in my basement working, and like, I didn't probably really raise my son the first 6 months. And like, it really wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, like, there's no pointing fingers on what's right or wrong. Just for me, that's what I thought was best. I saw things differently at that time, and even more so after the accident. I see it even clearer in that regard. So, yeah, just my thoughts and processes on that doesn't mean that it's the right process or thoughts for everyone, because
It is.
again, my mom worked nights at Chrysler, and I only saw her when, I was getting off the bus and she was leaving to go to work.
Who'd she do that for?
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Whenever I was younger, I didn't realize it. I just thought she couldn't come to my sporting games because she just couldn't. But as you get older and you realize that, think people have to do that, and they want to, but some of it's not by choice.
And sometimes you got to get humbled, I think, too. Last in 2020 in January, I left Circle, who's done nothing but take care of me, to go be the VP of operations for a company that was one of my customers. We were a startup. We were downtown, and COVID hit. And so, I left. I was very cocky back then. Like, I was in the Circle bubble. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything outside of it. And I left, and COVID hit. And so the put together of the office we had going that I was so proud of stopped. It was based, the customer I had was based off of ocean freight, and I was going to develop the land side. It stopped, and now I'm stuck. And then my daughter got pneumonia, like really bad. And she was 3 at that time, and she's just super, super spunky. And so I'm sitting in a hospital room, like not knowing what I'm going to do with my life now, because is Circle going to take back? Is this isn't going to work? And my daughter, who's just super spunky, sitting there, like, didn't even want to like move her head over to like look at me, right? Her oxygen levels were low. They aren't going up. We didn't know why. We didn't know what was going on. And so that moment in my life is where I was like, I risked everything. I put a lot of stuff on the line, and I put a lot of time in. And now, like you said, Brandon, I kind of looked at the fact that I wasn't spending as much time, with my kids are doing those things. And it was a very humbling experience, because it was like, I went from cocky to like almost having to like, get backwards quickly and like, hey guys, like this, and we're, things like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of a weird feeling. Like, I put you in a very vulnerable place. You go from very cocky and king of the world to vulnerable. And I think sometimes that's when you're like, okay, what's really important?
So boys, I'm sorry I have to end this.
I gotta roll.
I do too. I gotta roll.
We
I gotta
could talk
roll.
forever.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Peace,
No,
guys.
thanks for having me on this. I appreciate it.
Mike,
Thanks,
Nicole, Rhonda, even though you're not here, and Will, and you're not here, but we love all you guys. Thank you so much for all you do. It's been a fun journey, and I know you guys will be around, right?
Tony.
So,
Peace out, guys. Tony, love you.